You're listening to Slothcast with Theodore P. Sloth. Honest conversations with innovators building the future. Brought to you by Priority Software.
Welcome to Slothcast. I'm your host, Theodore P. Sloth. We may move slowly, but we think fast. Each episode, I talk with the business leaders and innovators shaping the future, exploring AI, digital transformation, and what it really takes to succeed in today's tech-driven world. Slothcast is brought to you by Priority Software, empowering businesses with cutting-edge ERP solutions for the modern economy. Today, I'll be interviewing Or Haviv, a partner at Arieli Group. Or leads Arieli's global innovation activities, including its growth and investment platforms across Israel, Europe, and North America. Or, it's good to see you. Welcome to Slothcast.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for hosting me.
So, Or, let's dive into it. You have a lot of background in innovation and working with startups. Do you personally define innovation in business today?
Well, I think it's a great question. Innovation is what separates humans from any other creatures. I know, Sloth, you're not exactly human.
Yeah, that's my weak spot.
But I think that although a lot of other living creatures have, let's say, creativity, and you could see them doing a lot of creative things, humans separate themselves with the ability to imagine, to vision, and then to execute on very inspiring levels.
It doesn't hurt my feelings at all.
Personally, I can say that one of the greatest motivations for me was to look at the goal to help humans realize their potential. And that's been a goal that's been with me for at least 25 years. During this time, I've been working all the way from the Silicon Valley through Europe and all the way to Israel in the tech ecosystem. And it was very, very inspiring for me to see people that are coming from different backgrounds, never mind what was their socioeconomic background. Some people that never finished high school, some people had come from homes with money or without money. And these people had one thread that was connecting all of them. And that thread was the desire, the burning desire, the fire of innovation. And the ability to see someone who hacks the code of not going through the normal system of education and then, a master's degree and then, MBA or a professor or whatever it is, and just kind of go through directly to becoming a CEO of a multinational company that literally redefines the industry or invents an entire new industry and then hires in his company a lot of professors and doctors, is something very inspiring. And I saw the true potential of realizing human potential happening in front of my eyes. And that's really what drawn me into the innovation industry specifically. And I can say that for me, that symbolizes innovation, realizing human potential.
Interesting. And have you seen any of that change in the past for years, or has it been a constant? Yeah,
well, everything changes. The only constant in the world is change. So we understand that change is happening faster and faster. The intervals are becoming shorter and more intense. So you will see a lot more innovation in a lot less time. And that's what happens around us. The hardware is allowing for huge growth in pretty much any industry you can imagine. And that drives innovation that is much, much more intense. So I definitely see huge change, and the need for innovation is just increasing. Some companies in the industry you see are budgeting their innovation for billions of dollars, just that, just to make sure they're up to par with everything that's coming up around the corner. So yeah, I see huge change, and it's only going to grow, I think.
Great. Which technologies or business models do you believe will be the most influential in shaping global markets over the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I believe that the trends of AI and faster and faster internet service everywhere around the world, ubiquitous computing, connectivity, and autonomous or robotics. These trends, and obviously overwhelming with everything, is the potential of faster computers, right? And computer chips. This will redefine everything. I mean, the ability to take a potential drug and develop it in 6 months or 1 year, and squeezing that time frame into 1 month or 2 months is game changing. Okay, so that's just one example. If you look at the manufacturing industry, that is going through huge changes. The trends that we see, the increasing demand to products and goods through digital commerce, has pushed the manufacturing industry to its edge. If you think about it, we have single days of commerce, which thanks to digital commerce are now being defined as the make it or break it days. In 1 day, like the Chinese Bachelor's Day or Black Friday or whatever, you see volumes of sales in billions. This is directly affecting the manufacturers who need to live up to the demand. So there's a chain of events that all require innovation in order to be able to live up to it. And I think we've seen a lot of these changes in our daily lives as well. I have a sister in the US. She doesn't drive the car. The car drives itself, and it's not from yesterday. It's for a long time. All these machines are collecting data. This data is being analyzed and led with AI tools. And I know that we're also experiencing a lot of job loss, which is huge. And every person is important, and their livelihood is important. But if you think about it, there's a lot of theories about how it's going to affect our lifestyle, everybody's lifestyle, when things are going to cost less and going to be more available. Then less and less people will have to directly work, or could be free to work in other things that they're more passionate about, and still earn money, because humanity is going to save a lot of money. To hire a human is a lot more expensive than to hire a robot, okay? And that human can be freed to do whatever they're best at. Maybe it's music, maybe it's art, maybe it's inspiring other humans, who knows? But I think that's the overall direction.
So, keeping with trends, how do you see global market trends and macro trends, such as geopolitical, that shifts and supply chain evolution intersect with innovation strategies?
Well, I think everybody that has eyes and ears can see that the world is becoming, just like the tech industry and innovation industry, more and more intense. Like I said, the intervals are becoming shorter in time and more intense in volume. I'll give an example. We used to live in a world where once in 10 years you will get an economic downturn or some sort of event that everybody needs to revolve around and figure it out. Today, in 10 years, we're experiencing not 1, not 2, but sometimes 5 major events. And I'm talking just about geopolitical and everything that you just mentioned. But even beyond that, some of these events are redefining and affecting directly the main arteries of our lives. For example, during COVID, we experienced a complete halt in air travel. Air travel is not nice to have. It used to be maybe 70, 100 years ago, only the rich and famous could travel and fly from one country to another. Today, think about it. There's not a single person in your life that doesn't have an international life, family, business, We're dependent on the travel industry for our lives, for our business. It's not nice to have, it's must have. And when all the planes were grounded, guess what? Families were separated, businesses were separated. We had to reinvent how we do business, how we close deals. You know, people that said, no, I don't close deals unless I look the person in the eye, guess what? Was dead during the COVID, you know? You had to download Zoom. You had to work with people. You had to learn how to digitally close deals in international markets. That's one example. Another example is the entire problem with the supply chain and the logistics. We had, you know, ports completely blocked and overflowing with ships, and don't even get me going about the logistics within land, and you know how we can and should be more efficient with the trucks and the delivery systems and everything else. So yes, I think these trends and these geopolitical situations definitely affect the industry and requires innovation on next level to provide answers and solutions.
Okay, so innovation continues to be critical in every situation, especially during big changes. So let's switch over to the world of startups. What are the biggest mistakes you see founders make when pitching to investors, and how do you think they should reframe their approach?
So, like I said, I've been working for about 25 years, all the way from the first rated ecosystem in the world, which is the Silicon Valley, all the way to Tel Aviv, which is one of the top as well, in Europe as well. There's one thing that really unites a lot of the entrepreneurs, and that is specifically to your question, when they approach investors, they're coming in with the passion of innovation. They're coming in with the passion of their vision, and they're starting to drill down into the tech, into the features, into a lot of the things that are really exciting for them, because that's where they come into play. That's where they show their, you know, inspiration and vision. But they forget one thing. Investors, especially if you talk to professional investors, I'm talking about friends and family that know to look beyond all these things. But if you talk to professional investors, they're competitive investors. Their dollar is looking at your startup as much as 2, 3, 4, 10 other startups at the same time. Now the question is, if I'm a professional investor, I care about one thing, main thing, which my board and my investors and my directors are looking and measuring me by, right? That's returns on the money, okay? So if your startup is producing, you know, the next level of paper cups, and the next guys are agriculture, and then medtech, and then cyber, I have to put all these deals on the table. My dollar is equally looking at all of them. It doesn't matter the vertical. Now, some investors, yes, are smart money, and they're looking at certain verticals more than others, but even there, you have competition, right? So, first mistake, number one mistakes, when you talk to investors, talk to investors. Don't start talking about the features. And I'll give you an example that I saw explains this situation beautifully to startups. They understand it beautifully, and they stop making this mistake. Here is the example. If I want to go and I want to sell somebody, a professional investor in real estate, an apartment, I am not going to go in and immediately start talking about the color inside the rooms, the design inside the rooms, how many coffee tables are in the apartment, and I don't know how many plugs are in the wall. I'm not going to do it. How am I going to start a conversation with a real estate investor? Like that. I'm going to say, listen, I have an amazing apartment in the center of Tel Aviv that I can sell you today for 1 million under what all the rest of the apartments around it are selling today, which means from day one you have 1 million in your pocket as profit. I know that the city is planning a development in this building in the next 5 years, which will increase the valuation of this apartment 2 times, right, in the next 5 years, right? And after the investor shows interest and understands the return on the money and the actual financial deal, then I can start talking about the color in the rooms, the fact that it's environmentally friendly and it was designed by, I don't care, from whatever design school, right? So focus. If you're an entrepreneur and you meet investor, know your audience. show them in the next 2, 3, 4 sentences that you are going to be their flagship entrepreneur, you're going to be their flagship portfolio company, and you're going to be the potential huge return for the investor that's going to make him a huge success for his board.
All right, so that's a great tip for entrepreneurs, and I hope our listeners are paying attention. So let's go back to the beginning. You defined innovation as maximizing human potential. How do you attribute this to organizations? How can you help organizations cultivate talent and retain creative thinkers in an era of rapid change?
So, they're saying there's entrepreneurs and there's intrapreneurs. So every human is a potential entrepreneur, a business entrepreneur. The question is, are we as organizations allowing and providing the right ecosystem for the employees to realize this potential within an organization, right? So I can give you a couple of examples. I was once provided a tour in a car factory in California. Doesn't matter the brand, but at the end of the line, there was, cars coming out, very competitive brand, and literally these guys were working around the clock. Their warehouse could only hold inventory for, about a day or whatever. So there's always trucks coming in and out, and everything is kind of like very tight deadlines, very tight delivery and everything. So when I was walking in the store, I saw all the time yellow boxes throughout the manufacturing line. And I asked them, what is this yellow boxes for? And they told me that at any time that the employees want, they can approach this box. They can write down whatever idea or suggestion they have for the factory to improve, and they can put it in the box at the end of the month or whatever during the month. The management takes empties the boxes, sits down, reads these pages, and rates with points each idea and each suggestion. Could be 1 point, could be 1,000 points, could be 1,000,000 points. Each point equals $1 addition to your salary. So, for example, one employee was working with the robotic arm that does some work that creates sparks, and then these sparks spark backwards on top of the robot, and then every few weeks they have to stop the line, they have to clean the robot, they have to come back, and it costs money and time and everything. So they made a simple suggestion. They took tinfoil from home, that you cook with, wrapped around the critical points around the robot. At the end of the thing, they just take it off, put new one, costs almost nothing, and saves tons of money for the factory. Points like that or opportunities like that provide the perfect platform for any organization to really materialize and realize the human potential in their teams and employees. Now, if you build a company where you're the leadership and everybody else they basically does what you say, then guess what? You don't really need a team, and that team you're not really using them. It's like using a Ferrari as a door stopper. Will it stop the door? Yeah, sure, it will stop the door, but it wasn't built for that. It could drive 300 kilometers per hour, right? This is like your team. If your team comes back to you and says yes, 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 yes all day long, you got a problem as a manager. That's not why you hired a team. Your team is supposed to come in and hear your direction or your ideas or whatever, and then confront them and say, not just for the sake of confrontation, but if they think they can do it better and push the achievement of the organization up by doing it in a different way or improving on what you said, that's what you want to hear, right? That's why you have a team. So I would say any organization needs to understand that innovation is to challenge the status quo, okay? And innovation depends on people. One person sees one thing, another person sees the same thing in a different way. You need to hear what they think. So define structures, define models, define platforms for your employees, for your teams to express themselves, to bring it into play, and then define ways to compensate them for that so they have an incentive to step beyond the role and push the envelope and help your organization to be the top that they can. A lot of people like Simon Sinek and other great speakers refer to it as the infinite organizations, and there's different ways to look at it. But basically what it is, it's a very simple concept, right? Realize the human potential in the team that's around you. That's all.
Wow, that's really great to hear that even in the world of AI, that humans are still playing such an important role in the organization. So, Or, I think that's about all the time we have. Thank you so much for coming to Slothcast. It was great talking to you.
It's a pleasure. It's been my first experience interviewing for a sloth, and after this one, I'm definitely ready for the next one. If you have friends that are lions or elephants or anything else, I'll happy to interview for them as well.
Great. I'll let them know. Goodbye. Thank you.
You're listening to Slothcast with Theodore P. Sloth. Honest conversations with innovators building the future. Brought to you by Priority Software.